Welcome to Power CEOs, the truth behind the business. I'm Jen Gaudet, your fearless host, entrepreneur, investor, and business strategist. Why are we here? Because iron sharpens iron. And when we bring successful entrepreneurs and investors, executives to talk about what's working in business and even what's not, we are all able to learn and grow. As a result, our businesses grow, and the impact that ripple effect impacts not only ourselves, our teams and their families, but also our communities and our world. I'm really excited. I've got a special treat for you today. We have Michael Duke, founder and CEO of DBT Aero Incorporated, joining us again today. His mission is to decarbonize aviation, positively impact billions of lives. How does he do it? By flying people further, faster, and carrying more. Welcome back to the show, Michael.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here, Jen.
Absolutely excited about this. As we've discussed in the past, I love the technology. I love new technology, and especially that's in the sustainability and permaculture vein. So let's talk about what is it like? What are the challenges that you face in developing new technology, specifically in aviation? What challenges do you face as you bring this to market?
Well, aviation is a lot like people are probably familiar with pharmaceuticals, bringing drugs to market or medical devices. There's a lot of regulation. So on the one hand, you have the FAA or other regulatory bodies and meeting all of the challenges that they require in order to make a safe aircraft for the general public, because the general public don't really understand the risks per se that they're taking. So part of it is developing the technology on the one hand. The next is developing the manufacturing systems so that you can reproduce that technology, that airplane, the same every time. And we've seen some problems with some of the large companies not having good manufacturing systems and things slipping through. That's a problem. The next is making sure you have a viable business case. And so we see a lot of companies that start up, they prove the technology, they may even get down the path of production and being able to reproduce something, but is it really viable? And as a result, they end up going out of business. So not only do you need to do all of those three, but as it turns out, innovation can be, you start with a problem typically, and you're trying to address that problem. Well, you may end up finding a solution, to something else. And so now instead of directly solving for that problem, you're out with a solution, trying to find a problem. And so that's the other flip side of innovation is, are you starting with the problem and you solved it? Or are you starting with a technology and you're really looking for the problem to go solve? So it can be interesting for entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. So give me a little insight into your brilliant mind. When you encounter these problems, these challenges, what is your approach to solving the problems or the challenges and overcoming those hurdles? Like, say you've gone down the path, you've got an innovation, you thought you were solving this problem and you developed the tech and as a matter of fact, it solves this other problem. Like, how do you approach that problem solving and overcome that challenge so that you can actually go to market and be a viable company?
So part of it is being both strategic as well as tactical. We have a strategic direction of looking towards manned aircraft. So something large that we can actually go fly and have lots of people. And as we were talking before the podcast, we really think this is kind of the future of the flying car. It's effectively a sedan. You put 4 or 5 people in, and yet you still have the luxury, but instead of moving down the highway at 55, 60, 65, you're flying at 300 miles an hour plus. That's a cool flying car. So strategically, that's where we want to go. At the same time, when we're talking about the regulatory, there's issues that have to be overcome, and we need to demonstrate to the FAA, the other regulatory bodies, that this is going to be safe for people. So as a tactical approach, we start with a drone, like what's being displayed. You start with something small, you prove it, you prove that it's safe. Not only technically does it work, but you can manufacture it, and there's a business case for it. Now you can then move on to larger, more complex aircraft that potentially have greater risks to human life, and you've already proven that you're safe with that tactical approach. So we've got a pathway that moves us from something small and easy to certify into something more sophisticated. And all along the way, you still have a business at each step.
And that makes perfect sense. You want to be tactical. You want to be able to bring money in the door and use that to fund so that it cuts your burn rate. One of the things that I'm an investor, and one of the things that startup entrepreneurs especially kind of don't think through fully before they pitch investors, especially in new technologies, is they don't think about what is the burn rate if they encounter a challenge like this. And I know that I believe that you were self-funded. Did you bootstrap this company?
It was primarily bootstrapped. We have a small group of investors, but effectively, friends and family, it's bootstrapped, yes.
So, but even with friends and family raise and your own funds, we need to understand what is our burn rate. It's a very high burn rate when you're in development, but then once you're going to market, there's still a ramp up to revenue while you're hoping to break even and then go profitable. So I'm going to ask a question, and maybe you have the answer, but I'd love to dig into your brain on how do you anticipate when you're forecasting out what you believe is going to be the case as you go to market with your tactical solution moving into your strategic? How do you sort of sort that through so that you can communicate that to investors who are actually going to help you to move forward further?
So a lot of it has to do with being, one, flexible, and two, conservative. We've seen way too many people, particularly in aviation, that say we're going to be in service by a particular date. Well, they have no idea whether they're going to meet the regulatory guidelines, whether they're going to be able to meet the manufacturing challenges, or even further back, have they been able to demonstrate technically that everything works? Mm-hmm. So part of it is being conservative and knowing that there are going to be things that come up along the way. One of the things that we ran into was our initial manned aircraft had a prop on it that would have been perfect for a particular situation. As we went out to do some testing, we found that because of some other decisions that were made, that prop just wasn't going to work. And so now we're getting ready to go out and do testing, and we need a prop that's going to be able to move the aircraft through the skies. So suddenly we're back looking at how do we solve this issue, and how does that change our timeline as well as our burn rate. And so that's a very tactical solution. We looked at how do we solve this long term, and that's the strategic, and decided we can't get there from here. We need to do a tactical solution. We need to find pieces and parts off the shelf that we can put in to keep the project moving. We know where we want to go strategically, but we're just not going to get there right now.
And so you said a couple of things, and that's you keep using the word we, and I really want to emphasize this because so many times, especially when we're starting up, the entrepreneur, the visionary, the idea person thinks that it has to come from them. But really and truly, especially as a startup, especially in technology, it is a team approach. So talk to me a little bit about the role of collaboration in overcoming challenges and forecasting and keeping you all motivated, your team, everyone motivated and up for the game when you're facing these challenges.
So that example that I just gave you about the prop, and let me back up. I have a little phrase, I don't remember where I borrowed it from, but I heard the phrase, "We are smarter than me." And I firmly believe that. So in the example with the prop, we let the team know, here's where we're at, we need to solve this, and we need to do it quickly, and we need to do it cheaply. So there are a number of different approaches, and the team started going through and suggesting different ways that we might be able to solve that. As it turns out, one of the members of the team found an off-the-shelf prop that we were able to use, but we would need to make a change in how it's mounted. And so another team member said, hey, I can find this thing, we can modify that so it'll fit this particular prop. And another one contacted a supplier, and that supplier then said, oh yeah, let me see if I can make this other modification. So several team members all working together, and as a result of that collaboration, we were able to solve it pretty quickly and within the budget that we had allotted. So Collaboration is really important, and we believe that we truly are smarter than any individual on the team. In terms of, do you want me to answer the motivation question as well?
Yes.
Okay. So in terms of motivation, at the end of the day, the team is going to mimic the leader. And as a result, the leader needs to stay motivated, needs to not get down because of the challenges. And honestly, a lot of these things can be very frustrating. So it's okay to say, didn't expect that. But then you need to regroup and lead the team forward. Say, okay, these are the facts. How do we solve it? It's not, pointing fingers at any individual. Simply, we ran into a problem we didn't expect. We need to overcome this. And so for us, it's then really a matter of looking at kind of what is the product that we're trying to do? Where are we trying to go? What's our vision? And so remain focused on our vision, as well as I want to fly one of these personally instead of having the test pilot fly it. So my own passion to get to the goal line is very important, but also, it's then starting to look at what do we need right now, and sometimes you need to provide a little bit of space, go back, think about it, come back, and now you're re-energized and you can move forward. So sometimes you just need a little bit of space and come back renewed.
I love that. The step back. That's interesting. Coming from a space of curiosity and where are we going? And hey, team, how can we make this happen? But leading from the front. Fantastic. We do have to take a brief break, but we will be right back after these messages. Welcome back to Power CEOs. And before the break, we were talking about how do we overcome challenges in new tech development with our amazing guest here, Michael Duke. Michael, I want to dive a little bit deeper into that because we kind of touched on regulation, because regulation is a big deal in aviation. It's also a big deal in healthcare, in financial markets, in legal. And so I really want to ask you, how do regulatory changes impact the development and then subsequent deployment of new technologies in your field?
Regulatory is a really big issue in aviation, just as it is, as we mentioned, in healthcare and other industries. One of the positive things that's happened recently in aviation is that the FAA has changed some of the regulatory requirements. As a result, we're seeing the electric vertical and takeoff landing aircraft, the eVTOLs. The problem has been there haven't been any regulations around electric motors and electric propulsion. Use of batteries for these things. 3D printing. We see 3D printing everywhere. The FAA has no regulations around 3D printing yet. So we're trying to figure out how does that work. As it turns out, some of these things are all about safety, and the FAA simply needs to figure out what is it that is safe in using these, and we need enough time and enough demonstrations to prove that the safety is there for the general public. So we're always kind of keeping an eye on things regulatory wise and figuring out where can we go and what regulators do we need to work with in order to move the industry towards some of these new technologies and these new manufacturing approaches that are available.
And so I'm going to follow that up with, we have to deal with regulation, and sometimes we're mid-development and regulation might change. There might be an update to code, for example, in construction or in whatever industry. So when you encounter that, how do you stay compliant? Like, what strategies do you have built in for that flexibility and adaptability in the middle of the process? And do you engage with the regulatory bodies to maybe influence positive change for acceptance of new technology?
Yes, we absolutely need to keep ourselves informed. So part of it is making sure that we're following what's happening not only nationally with the FAA, but also locally. There's local regulations around noise and other ordinances, how you refuel an aircraft, etc. So environmental things. So part of it is just staying informed and making sure that we're connected to the outlets for information. The FAA is actually pretty good about it. They have what are called advisory circulars, and they publish almost everything through the Federal Register or other means. So having that information is available, you just need to go out and make sure that you're staying briefed. But it also means, though, talking to the various people that do represent us. You can talk to senators and representatives, both at the federal and the state level, governors, mayors, city councils. So all of these things, part of it's getting involved, part of it's staying informed, and part of it is just being flexible. You have to build into your plans for those unknowns. One of the regulations that changed was what they call, how we certify an aircraft. Now it's about what they call means of compliance. So it's really, instead of you have to have a wing and it does these things, it's you need to show that the aircraft is safe in the following flight regimes. And then how will you prove that to the FAA is your means of compliance. So instead of focusing on it will do this, a particular part, or you'll make these parts, it's how will you show that the part performs in a way that is safe. And so that's opened up a lot of options, including our design. Our design would be very difficult under the prior regulations.
And, I want to sort of recap what you said, because I think it's very important to highlight when we have to deal with regulatory bodies, when we are dealing with this, and anybody who's paying attention to the whole AI technology boom, like regulation lags technology. Litigate, like any kind of legal aspect lags new technology. So we really don't know what's coming down the pipes when we're dealing in innovation. And so what you said was so critical, and it applies across multiple industries. It's stay informed what's happening, get involved, and be proactive, communicating with those people who are a part of our regulatory bodies, and be flexible. But most important, build contingency plans that kind of plan for the unknown, because it will happen. When we're dealing with technology, innovation in any industry, almost, we have to sort of forecast what might come up and plan for any of those changes. Such good information right there, pure gold. And so let me ask you, because aviation's been in the news a whole heck of a lot. There's been faulty parts, issues with planes just randomly dropping. Is it the operator? Is it the machinery? What is happening? It's getting a lot of press right now because there's a lot of situations that have been occurring in public aviation and commercial airlines. How does that press, the media, those kind of things, how do those other aspects that are in your same industry impact your business?
It obviously does, because it comes down to consumer acceptance. And one of the things the FAA and the other regulatory bodies around the world are trying to do is help people feel comfortable that aviation is safe. So these various things that end up in the news certainly impact people's belief in safety. And one of the things that we're trying to do is minimize the number of parts so that things are less complex. The commercial aircraft that we see in the news are very complex, and they're made in multiple locations across the world, and then they come together in one location for final assembly. So you have lots of handoffs, and are the checklists being followed? Aviation is a lot about checklists, and so with each of these issues, you end up developing a new checklist, and that's part of it, is making sure that you're following a repeatable process. Manufacturing wants to eliminate variability. Innovation is about increasing variability. And so it's really trying to find that middle ground where you can innovate to a certain point, but then you have to freeze it, lock it in, and make sure it's completely reproducible and that it just never fails. And then you start the cycle again.
It's really interesting, because I really want to play into, it's important, like the news can be utilized in a bunch of different ways. And, I understand the whole the fear that comes along with it. So from a customer safety standpoint, when you're bringing in a new technology to market and you start bringing these manned aircraft that look so different, what is your plan for allowing the customer, the consumer, to feel accepting of the new technology and like it's going to be safe for them to move forward?
So as I mentioned earlier, part of our development path has to do with starting with a small unmanned aircraft. If we can prove to people through something that is unmanned, that it's stable, it's safe, etc., that hopefully will inspire them to give it a try. What we've seen is the aircraft design is actually very stable, more stable than a traditional aircraft of the same size. As a result, the people who we believe will be the early adopters who are willing to try something new, they go out and they fly it the first time. And as they validate the design and say, wow, I've never flown in anything quite so smooth, so fast, quiet, sustainable, as they hopefully generate this positive press, that will inspire the larger population, those that are a little less adventurous, to come back later and say, hey, I'm willing to try that because Bob said that he really loved it and that it wasn't bouncy. And so you go off-roading, you're going to get bounced around. Well, if you have a good set of shocks and it smooths it out, you're going to get a lot more people who are willing to go off-roading with you. So we believe the same thing is true. We've designed an aircraft that is much smoother and we think will provide a nice ride for people and they'll be excited to give it a try.
And I just want to highlight that, like, the social proof is so incredibly important today. And in today's world, everybody's looking for those testimonials and they're looking for reasons. A lot of times people go and search for social proof, looking for reasons not to buy. So your way to combat this is, hey, look, we've mastered this in the smaller aircraft. Now we're doing this in manned aircraft, and look at these results. And if people are having that experience and they can speak to what your brand promise is, and that's really important because your brand promise is flying is a smoother ride, it's more sustainable. If you're able to deliver that and have social proof, then that can give you that momentum to go forward. Absolute gold. Thank you so much for your insights today. I really appreciate you joining us. How can people reach out to you if they would like to learn more, or if they would like to perhaps be one of your early adopters?
We would love people to come take a look at our website, which is dbt.aero. We have a number of things waiting in the wings, so keep checking back regularly. That'll be updating soon. We'd love to hear from you. There's a place where you can pop in and send us your contact info, and we'll follow up with you in the days and months ahead. We've got a lot more to come, and we look forward to a conversation. As we say, we are smarter than me, and we is generically with the public as well. We're looking for input and feedback from the public.
Thank you again so much. We is better than me. I think that's the big takeaway of the day. Collaborate. When you're overcoming any kind of challenges, go to your team, have that collaborative approach, come with curiosity instead of blame. And remember to always keep your customer in mind as you move forward. We do have to take a brief break, but we will be right back after these messages. Welcome back to Power CEOs, the truth behind the business. We are going to shift gears a little bit. As entrepreneurs, investors, and executives, part of the process in business is having a strategic plan as well as contingency planning. One area of that is planning for crisis. Sometimes these are business related, and other times these involve natural disasters, things that we really can't plan for well, but we do have resources. I'm really excited to have Elizabeth Vargas in studio with the United States Small Business Association to kind of talk about what are those resources available to us? What can we do when a disaster strikes? Because for those of us in the Houston area, we know that this has already happened this year, and we are dealing with the implications of such. So Elizabeth, welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Elizabeth, talk to me a little bit about how CEOs and entrepreneurs can proactively support our employees impacted by natural disasters. Like, what kind of disaster recovery is available to us as entrepreneurs?
Well, right now, because of the disaster, the storms and the flooding and everything that happened in the Houston area, actually 32 counties have been declared a disaster. The president signed a presidential declaration that opens resources from the federal government, FEMA and SBA and other agencies. In the case of SBA offers low-interest loans to businesses of any size, nonprofit organizations, homeowners, and renters. So the entrepreneurs must have this information available because for businesses and nonprofits, SBA offers not only loans for physical damage, also for economic injury. So the loans available are up to $2 million for physical damage. These loans are for you to recover and bring your building back to what it was, buy back your inventory, your machinery, whatever you lost on the disaster. And also SBA offers economic injury disaster loans. These are working capital loans for the business to keep going or reopen if they had to close. Because what it is, economic injury, it is that maybe you didn't have any physical damage, but your street to get to your business was flooded, so there was no traffic. You didn't have any income, any businesses, and that working capital you're gonna need to continue to pay your bills, to pay your, do your payroll, pay your utilities, your lease, anything like that. So SBA can lend you that money to keep going and get back on your feet. You can borrow up to $2 million for this economic injury that you had, and these loans are for a low interest rate as low as 4% for businesses and 3.25% for nonprofit organizations. All loans are up to 30 years term, and the important thing right now is that you will have 12 months deferment. For 12 months after you start receiving the funds, you don't have to worry to pay it back, and there is no interest that is gonna accrue. So you have 12 months to concentrate on getting your business back to where it was before the disaster. We have two business recovery centers open in the Houston area. We are also co-located with FEMA at all the disaster recovery centers that they have in the area. You can call SBA's 1-800-659-2955 for more information, or you can visit our webpage, sba.gov, or lending.sba.gov to apply. You can apply online by yourself. We also offer low interest loans to homeowners and renters, and this is very important. All homeowners own a home or rent a home, and they might have damages. It is very important because the name U.S. Small Business Administration, people think we only help businesses, but in a case of a disaster like this one, we offer low interest loans to homeowners and renters. Homeowners can get up to $500,000 to repair or replace their residence, and on top of that, they can get $100,000 to replace their personal property. This can be anything that was inside their home, furniture, appliances, clothing, and their car. A lot of vehicles, a lot of cars were damaged during the storms that happened between April 26th and June 5th. So homeowners and renters can get these loans up to $100,000. These loans for homeowners and renters are for an interest rate as low as 2.68% for a term up to 30 years. And again, they will have a 12-month deferment. No interest, no payment for the first 12 months after you receive your first disbursement. I invite everyone that had damages to come to one of the disaster recovery centers that are throughout the area. Call the 1-800 number, again 659-2955, or visit our webpage, sba.gov.
Thank you so much for that critical information. And so just to reiterate, if you are a homeowner or a renter, the US SBA has assistance for you for your home, for your furnishings, for your cars available. It is not only for business. I think that was something that I learned today. Thank you so much for your time, Elizabeth. Anything else that we need to know about the SBA process? What will we need to bring in order to make this efficient?
You don't need to bring but your ID, first of all. And another thing that I want to say is if you are approved, you're not obligated to take the loan. Come and talk, get all the with one of our customer service reps, get all the information. We have a lot of different options for you, so you can just get help and recover from this disaster.
Thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else that we need to know while we have your undivided attention?
There is a deadline. It's August 15th to apply for a loan for physical damage, and for economic injury for businesses and nonprofits is February 18 of 2025.
Thank you so much for that information, Elizabeth. We have a deadline of August 15th for physical damage to homes and for renters, and for economic info, February 18th is that deadline. Make sure you go to sba.gov and reach out. Is there any other contact information for you, Elizabeth, that you would like to share?
Well, we are co-located with FEMA in all of the disaster recovery centers throughout the area, so you can just go directly there. They are open 7 to 7, most of them 7 days a week. And our business recovery centers, one is at the University of Houston downtown, and the other one is at the Trini Mindenhall Community Center. You can get the information at the 1-800-659-2955.
Thank you so much for this critical education and information. Please, folks, don't hesitate to lean on the resources that we have. That's sba.gov. And thank you for your time, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
We will be right back after these short messages. Welcome back to Power CEOs, the truth behind the business. If you're just tuning in, you're going to want to go to nowmedia.tv, click on shows, and catch the entire show. You don't want to miss any of the gold that's been dropped. But we are going to shift gears because I want to introduce you to our newer guest, Stefan Dalsgaard. Stefan is the president of Golden Triangle Ventures, and he has been chatting with me in the break about how sometimes you have a dream as an entrepreneur and you have to execute on that no matter what. So Stefan, why don't you share with us, what was that dream for you and how did you manage to build this company in such dramatic fashion?
Sure. Thank you for having me, Jen. I appreciate it. I would say that when I was very young, I always knew that I was here to do something great for this world. I didn't know what. I was always a little different and always operated a little oddly with my parents and my family. And when I was 16, I started working in the stock market with my father. He taught me the whole business. He basically gave me a PhD in the market, understanding how to take companies public and how to operate a public company. So we would really help companies get to be publicly traded and help them really run their company successfully. Not the actual business, but the operations of being a public company. So I learned 10 years of work operating next to my dad, teaching me everything I knew. We both had a dream. It was about 10 years ago from now. And we both had a dream to take our own company public and really build a portfolio of businesses that we controlled, we operated, we managed, and really directed the ship at every level. And I'd say 10 years ago, he passed away, unfortunately. And after he died, it was my dream to finish what we started, take my own company public and build something incredible. And so after he died, I started going to a lot of concerts and seeing the entertainment space. And I knew that I wanted to build something incredible and throw music festivals and throw concerts and also build an amazing health company that can help the world and really do a lot of great things for people. And then also have a technology company that we can really integrate unique technologies that really could support businesses and different applications. And so he passed away in 2014. 2017, I threw my first concert. 2019, I took the company public. We built a portfolio company called Golden Triangle Ventures. We're traded under the OTC markets under the stock symbol GTVH. And since then, we've developed an incredible portfolio of businesses in the health, entertainment, technology business. And my entertainment company, we've recently gone out and we've purchased about 70 acres, and we're developing a music festival venue right outside of Las Vegas called Destino Ranch. And we're building an incredible tourist destination spot. It'll be a resort. It'll be a large art gallery, music festival venue. It'll be just one of the coolest places in the world when I'm done. So it's amazing. Dreams come true. And it's amazing watching this whole dream come together over the past 10 years. And it's been a blessing from God. And I'm just grateful to be here today.
Absolutely. And that's a fantastic story. And it's something that you and your father came together to do, and you have continued in fashion. And so I'm going to ask you, that's a tremendous amount of adversity to lose someone that you are in business with, and someone who also is someone you care about as well. And so how did you overcome that adversity in order to continue moving forward? Because this is something that we as entrepreneurs always have to face. Life always happens, but it is our responsibility to continue to execute on our dreams and visions so that that company can continue to thrive. So how were you able to manage and mitigate that adversity so you can continue to build what you've built so far today?
Sure. I knew that I couldn't fail. And I knew that with him in the heavens, he was almost like an angel in my corner. And I knew that if I just stuck to this and I really built it out and put the right team together on all avenues, I could really build something great. And just knowing that I had no choice, I was literally forced to be in the driver's seat the second he died, where I was either going to go get a job or continue doing what I've been doing with a dream of taking the company public. I knew that I had to do it for him, for this world, and for everyone. And I did it. And once I did it, I felt like I was just given all the pieces and all the tools and resources to make this happen one step at a time. So it was a blessing. It was an absolute blessing and a gift from God that I was able to really put this thing together at all angles, and everything came together like a beautiful puzzle piece. And it's still coming together today. And all I can say is dreams come true. And if you have a dream, you just need to execute on it, and you just need to know it to be true. And knowing that, I believe the universe just gives you all the keys to make it happen as long as you're determined, you work hard, you work smart, you're a good person, and you do everything you can to win.
So let me ask you a question, because I'm very curious about this. You did this for other companies. You helped other companies to go public for years before you did this for yourself. It's a lot different when we're consulting or we're working for other companies than when we're working for our own. So what was the thing that surprised you the most when it became something that you cared so deeply about and had a mission behind? Like, what was different that surprised you the most about doing this for yourself, for your own company, as opposed to when you were bringing other companies public?
Well, when I did it on my own, I'd say that I was blessed because it was in my hands. All the opportunities and all the paths that I was executing were up to me, instead of me relying on other companies to do what they say they would do, and complete their mission and bank on them being right, hoping that they would, and if they would, I would get paid. This was a blessing because it was really up to me, where I got to develop the entire strategy. I got to develop the teams. I got to develop the plans and really put together a dream team and a dream plan and a mission to really make an impact on this world. And I guess it was just really a great shift from working from someone else to working for myself, and building my team, my structure, my organization the way I believed it could become. And it's been a great pleasure.
And I hear your passion for your vision, and I hear your excitement and your drive. And so what I would really like to know is, how do you build that dream team? You've said those words several times, and that's one of the things that most entrepreneurs struggle with. They maybe don't have the right team or all the pieces that they need in order to bring that company forward to realize that vision, or maybe they don't have the ability to inspire that same kind of vision in their people. And it sounds like it's a perfect concoction that you've had. What's the secret sauce to building the dream team so that we can take our visions and execute on our goals so that that can become a reality?
Sure. I would say your team is your most important part of your company. And I am not, I've definitely lost many people, and people that I thought were good people ended up not being good people. And finding the best team and finding the team I have now has really come to me over time, and it's been trial and error. But I would say if you are a young entrepreneur, finding the right team and the best team as possible to do the tasks you need to do is most important. One man can't do everything. You can't take over the world by yourself. You need like-minded individuals in your corner that are equally motivated, equally as excited about your mission, your dream, your passion. And so finding those people is very important. You need to find people you trust, you can count on. That's my most important thing. If I can't trust you and I can't count on you, you're not part of my team. And so knowing that you have to have those two qualities in individuals that are on your team, and you need to have them equally as motivated and happy about your mission as you are. And I think if you want it bad enough, you will find them, and you must put the best team possible on your team.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And, like one of the things that we find a lot is that we have a lot of trial and error and we go through the same process, but everything that you've shared today is overcoming adversity and keeping your eye on the prize and knowing that you're going to bring something amazing into the world. And that's exceptionally admirable. How can people who are listening to this, who are watching this, who might have questions or might be interested in being a part of this amazing mission that you have, how can they get in touch with you if they'd like to learn more?
Well, our website is goldentriangleinc.com. And then our stock symbol, we're publicly traded on the OTC markets under GTVH. And then if you go to Yahoo Finance, and then you type in our stock symbol, which is GTVH, you can also see all of our news releases and press releases we put out. So we list press releases on a regular basis about our updates within the company. And then also on social media, you can find us on Twitter or X, and our handle is GTV_INC.
Fantastic. Well, we love on this show to share something, an action step that people can take right now today based off of the knowledge that you've brought to everyone and the value that you've brought to everyone today. So if you were to speak to those entrepreneurs who have a dream, who have a vision, who are maybe struggling to get that perfect team together, what would you encourage them to take action on today in order to move them forward?
Two things. I would say health. First thing is health. I believe health is wealth. I believe health is the most important part of an entrepreneur. When you're a healthy human, you're able to accomplish so much more. Your vibration is higher. You're able to execute your dreams. So I would say health is the most important part by far. Secondly, I would say if you have a dream, figure out how that dream can help the world, how you can use that dream to give back to the world. And I believe once you understand what that is and how that is, then make a plan as to how you're going to execute it. Start at the finish line, work backwards. Make an A to Z list of all the different milestones you plan on reaching. Break it down as detailed as humanly possible and start small. If you're scared of getting off the couch and working, do 10 minutes a day, then work your way up to 30 minutes a day, then work your way up to an hour, but commit to putting in 10 minutes a day, an hour a day, whatever it is, into executing that plan of yours. Start slow, hold yourself accountable. And when you start chipping into this plan of yours, you're going to see the universe start to give you all the tools. Even if you don't know how you're going to execute it, and there's things that you don't know how you're going to get the money or how you're going to get the right people, start small, put 10, 20 minutes a day in and work your way up, and you're going to watch all of the pieces start to come to you when you start working towards it, and know it's going to happen.
Thank you so much for your expertise and for joining me today on the show. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, Jen. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely. And you, yes, you. It is time for you to take action. You heard Stefan. He shared that take care of your health, because without your health, you have nothing. And he also said reverse engineer your dream, your goal. Break it down into that easy first step and take that step forward. So, this show, as well as everything else, does come to an end, unfortunately. But today is the day you take action to move yourself powerfully forward. Take that small step that will get you moving in forward momentum so that we can together grow our businesses. We will be here, same time, same station next week. But until then, go win today, win this week, and we'll see you next time.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.